Chapter 37, Torneck the Magnificent, and Isabel the Beautiful. Latia the Puma. Hello, Latia. Latia. Hi. I don't know how to thank you. You saved our lives. We are all greatly in your debt, but how did you know that we were in trouble? Latia the Puma. I didn't, but I sensed that something might be wrong, so we came to the valley to check on you. Good thing you were in the only cave that isn't down in the valley, as I have never gone down into the valley, for fear of becoming surrounded by all the monsters that dwell there. Protecting my son is my number one priority. Latia. I understand, but we've defeated many of the monsters that were there. I guess we somehow got a little overconfident with the gnolls. Not sure why we did. Maybe we just assumed fate was on our side. But this is not the main reason I wanted to talk to you. I assume you know what it is, though, yes? Latia the Puma. Yes, you're concerned about Nightwind. Unfortunately, there is nothing that I can do to help him. He will either recover or he won't. You've done all you can. All you can do now is sit with him and wait. Latia. Isn't there some type of magic that can save him? Latia the Puma. Yes, a heal spell, which only a high priest has the power to cast. Latia. What about druidic magic? Latia the Puma. I'm not aware of anything that could help him, but maybe. But nothing within your power. You must be willing to accept whatever happens to Nightwind. He would tell you that if he could. Latia. I can't. He's the only dwarf that I've ever had a real friendship with. I can't stand the thought of losing him. I don't know what I'll do if he dies. Latia the Puma. I do. You'll honor his life by living yours. It's what he would want. If Nightwind dies, you owe that to him. Make that an obligation to yourself, and you'll be fine. Latia. That's easy for you to say. Latia the Puma. If you were to die, what would you want Nightwind to do? Latia. Okay, you're right. But knowing that and doing it is very different. I don't know how I can go on without him. I feel the same way about everyone else, too. Latia the Puma. You already know what to do. But thankfully, you won't have to worry about that for now. Latia. What do you mean? Is he going to be okay? Latia the Puma said nothing, and the spell faded. Latia ran over to Nightwind, who was conscious now. Teneth. He regained consciousness. I just helped him drink a healing potion. He's going to make it. Without the healing potions, though, I don't know if he would have. Nightwind. I would have. I just killed a frost giant, he said, smiling. Latia. A frost giant? You battled a frost giant? Nightwind. Yes, in his home, in the mountains in the east. He lives in a place that he called the Glacial Rift. It was like a massive hole in the ice. I saw cave entrances and paths in the ice. It was a most impressive-looking place. Then we battled, and I defeated him. Had he won, I would have died. Jack. So many questions, but another time maybe. While Nightwind rests, how about some of us go to the keep and see if we can talk to William and see what Marcus thinks about the sword. We could buy some healing potions too now, especially with the extra money we got off the gnolls. Belfin. Their chief had 50 silver coins and 2 silver armbands that looked like they might be worth something, so we took them. Total for all the others amounted to around 100 more silver, including all the copper coins. Marcus may have sold more stuff too. Latia, looking at Nightwind and smiling. Well, I'm just glad you're back. But how you defeated a frost giant in battle, I have no clue. But I guess when you're dreaming, you can do anything. Nightwind. It wasn't a dream. I was there. All of my items were magical, and I was a warrior lord. Latia, smiling. A warrior lord. Well then, maybe it was real. But whether it was real or a dream, doesn't matter to me. You're back. That's all I care about. Latia gently hugged Nightwind and kissed him on his cheek, turning to the party. Yes, let's go to the keep. Turning back to Nightwind. We'll be back soon, and as soon as you're ready, we'll go back to the valley. Tico and Puma stayed with the dwarf while the party went to the keep. Shinfia. Did anyone ask Tico where he got all those healing potions? Teneth. He said he was shopping at the keep and a woman just gave them to him. Shinfia. Well, that's odd. I wonder why she did that. Heck, I wonder who she was. As they started to head out, Jack and Belfin had some more good news. They had both achieved the next progression. Jack, having achieved the third progression, could now memorize a level 2 spell, but he had none in his spellbook, so he hoped he would find a wizard at the keep to learn one. Belfin had now achieved the fourth progression as a rogue, so he was quite excited. Belfin, the title is Robber. Can you believe that? Mine is so much better. So from now on, you are looking at a trap finder, he said, smiling. Shinfia, Robber. Clearly they were having fun with titles for rogues. The party encountered no monsters on the way to the keep. When they entered, the news just kept getting better. Jaren informed them that the temple wanted them to come there, but they wanted to go see Marcus first. Marcus had sold some of their items and had around 200 silver coins for them, but no one had yet bought Gragnok's armor, but a couple merchants had expressed interest, so Marcus was hopeful that he'd eventually sell it. When they asked him about their undead slain sword, he was interested, but couldn't see how he could possibly sell it, and that only someone who had the ability to cast an identify spell on it would even consider buying it. So they decided to keep it for now. Marcus gave them 20 silver coins for the 2 silver armbands, though, which they took. Then they went over to the temple. When they got there, they were told that someone had paid the money to raise Ken Jograth, and that they were waiting for them to return before casting the spell. They said the payment was made by an anonymous source yesterday. The party assumed it was William, but the temple said it wasn't, but that William had left them 1,500 silver and 5,000 copper coins to fund their adventuring. Everyone was ecstatic, and they decided to use the money to purchase 10 healing potions at 100 silver each, 1 neutralized poison potion for 400 silver, and a clerical scroll with the spell Cure Disease for 300 silver. They then split the remaining 300 amongst everyone, including John and Bill, who again were quite surprised and very thankful. Ben, the head cleric, cast Heal and then Raise Dead from a scroll on Ken Jograth. The combination of both spells fully restored Jograth to complete health, and he was able to leave almost immediately. He was quite shocked, though, that he had been raised from the dead. Ken Jograth, I can't believe you paid to have me raised from the dead. I don't know how to thank you, but I know how expensive it is. How did you come up with the money to pay for it? Lightmane, an anonymous source paid it. We thought it was William, but the temple says it wasn't. Tenneth, I bet it was, and he just doesn't want anyone to know that he paid to raise a half-orc. Latia, that's what I'm thinking too. But he also funded our adventures in the valley. I'm a little shocked that he'd do both. Shinfia, perhaps he realizes just how important it is that we succeed and how dangerous the Valley of Caves is. The party told Ken about the adventuring party that they encountered on the road, how they had found the valley and fought with orcs and killed 4 of them, while the orcs killed 2 of their party members, and all that happened in the Knoll Cave. Lightmane, we fear now that Gluguk thinks we betrayed him, and we're worried that he might attack travelers on the road now. We don't know if he has, but at least we haven't run into any orcs yet. We're hoping you can smooth things over with Gluguk and explain to him what actually happened, and then let's go back to the Knoll Cave and see what else is there. Ken Jograth, I will try my best to smooth things over, as you say. Good thing you didn't try to talk to him without me. He never would have listened. Had I remained dead, you would have had no choice but to return there and slaughter them all. Latia, by the way, Ken, did you experience anything odd or interesting while you were dead? Ken Jograth, I have no memory of being dead. The last thing I remember was being killed by Gragnok. I still can't believe that I'm alive again. It is a most bizarre feeling, knowing I've been dead for several days and am now alive again, like nothing happened. I can't explain it, but because I'm a necromancer, I feel like I've benefited from this experience in some way. I guess time will tell if I did. Ken's words sent a chill down Jack's spine, let alone everyone else's. Jack, well, as long as you don't turn into a Dark Lord or something and kill all of us, I hope it benefits you too. Ken Jograth, I can assure you, Jack, that I will never hurt the people who have helped me in so many ways. Jack, well, that's very reassuring, so thank you. Now I just need to learn some level 2 spells from a wizard. Ken Jograth, I have 2 level 2 spells in my spellbook that I'll gladly share with you. Jack, really? Wow, that's great. Thanks. What spells do you have? Ken Jilgrath, one necromantic spell and one other. The necromantic spell is Nistel's Crystal Dagger. It summons a magic dagger to your hand that is especially good against undead. And the other spell is Monster Summoning 2, which summons 2 to 4 monsters who will fight for you. Both spells don't last very long, but good enough for one combat usually. Jack, wow, both sound great. Hopefully I can copy them into my spellbook successfully. Can we go to our apartment to do this? Ken Jilgrath, you have an apartment here in this keep? Jack, yes, now that we have the money to afford it, it's way better than staying at the inn. The inn is a nice place, but having our own apartment is much better. Ken Jilgrath, I can't wait to see it, but I better keep my face covered with my cloak. Jack, it's small, but still better than staying at the inn. And yes, until we leave here, I'd cover your face. Hopefully we can exit without anyone asking questions at the gate. Phileas, unfortunately, I cannot learn either of those spells, but Lightmane can, so I think we should definitely take the time to do this. How much time will you need, though? Jack, should just take a few hours, I think. The party went to their apartment, and Ken Jilgrath was quite impressed. Jack and Lightmane copied both spells into their spellbooks successfully, and the party discussed what to do about Gluguk and the orcs, and then headed back to Tico. With Jaren on guard duty, they were able to exit without anyone questioning them. They took the time to explain to Ken, as best they could, the relationship between Tico and Latia the Puma. Ken was intrigued and looked forward to meeting them. When they got there, Nightwind was ready to go. Ken was amazed at the sight of the great white puma and even seemed a little frightened, but everyone assured him that he had nothing to worry about, that the puma would not harm him, so he relaxed. Latia, Ken Jilgrath, this is Tico, and this is Latia. Ken Jilgrath, hello to you both. Tico, hi Ken Jilgrath, I've never met a half-orc before. I'm happy to meet you. Tico was smiling, and Ken was a little shocked to hear him say he was happy to meet him. Ken Jilgrath, it's an honor to meet you both. Your friends have told me a little about each of you. I hope in time I can earn your trust and be your friend too. Tico, you've already earned my trust. You're friends with everyone here, so that makes you my friend too. Ken Jilgrath just smiled, not really sure what else he should say, other than thank you, which he did. It was now in the afternoon, so they decided to head to the Knoll Cave first and finish exploring it, and then go talk to Gluguk. The party was not only hoping that Jilgrath could explain to him what happened, but also get him to come with to help fight the bugbears. That was the plan anyway, and they all headed out. Tico and the puma escorted them to the valley. When they explored the rest of the Knoll Cave, they encountered no other gnolls, though all the dead bodies were still there. They searched everywhere, and in a pile of hides they found a sable cloak which looked to be valuable, so they took it and put it in the wheelbarrow. There was a storage room filled with all kinds of food and drink, along with several weapons and shields, including one longsword and a suit of dwarven chainmail. Lightmane cast detect magic, and the longsword radiated magic, so the elf took it and sheathed his other sword. They also grabbed 7 longbows off of the dead gnolls, fairly certain that they were worth some money, and took some arrows for themselves. In the Gnoll Chieftain's room, they found 203 copper, 97 silver, and 21 gold coins, along with 12 gems of various colors, shapes, and sizes. They all sat in a large metal pot that was by a fireplace, so they put the metal pot in the wheelbarrow, along with the armor, and split up all the money, but Jack took the gems. At the last minute, they grabbed some of the food and drink, as Jilgrath had an idea. Jack, here's hoping some of these gems are worth a lot of money. As soon as we get back to the keep, we should see if there's a jeweler there. Didn't Jarlin say there was? Latia, yes, I believe he did. Here's hoping he's still around and is an honest man. Jack, a jeweler that's an honest man? I doubt it, but here's hoping. Happy with the treasures that they found, it was now time to go see Gluguk. It was starting to get dark. They approached the cave entrance and stepped inside, and Jilgrath called out to the orcs. He told them that the party was with him and that he wished to see Gluguk, but he asked them to send him out to them. Gluguk came out, but stopped at the 4-way intersection. Gluguk, why should I trust you, Jilgrath? You are with them, and they lied. Jilgrath, I know what happened. and they are here to apologize and pay you in treasure, to pay for the 4 orcs who were killed. Lightmane, Gluguk, I assure you, we had no clue that another adventuring party was here. We met them on the road, and they told us what happened. At the time, Jograth was not with us, so we waited until he was with us before coming to see you, knowing that you wouldn't listen to us if he wasn't with us. We are prepared to pay you 100 coins for each orc who was killed. Is that an acceptable payment for you? We can also give you food and drink, if you so desire. Gluguk, looking as though he was thinking.
I accept your offer of coins and food and drink, but if anyone attacks us again, we will take action. Fortunately for you, they fled, and we ate the 2 that we killed. Humans are quite tasty once you cook them properly, he said, smiling.
Shinfia, quietly to Latia, oh great, they cook and eat humans. Lightmane, here is 400 copper coins, and here are 2 barrels of ale and wine, and crates and sacks of food. Orcs came out and took everything into their cave. Gluguk looked quite pleased. Jograth, Gluguk, we are now going to go fight the bugbears. Come with us and help us. After we defeat the bugbears, you can go back in your cave, and we will go to the temple and fight the clerics there. Once we defeat them, you will be in charge here, and I will assist and advise and guide you in every way that I can. If you want to truly be the Orc King, you must show all here that you truly are the Orc King through a show of strength. Only by helping us defeat the bugbears will all the orcs, as well as the goblins and kobolds who are still here, truly recognize you as the one and only Orc King of the valley. So what will it be? Will you show strength and help us defeat the bugbears, or will you go back inside your cave and hide? The party didn't think there were any goblins still around, but it was possible that some still were. But regardless, Gluguk didn't know, so they used that to their advantage. Gluguk stepped out of the cave and walked right up to Jograth.
I will come with you and fight the bugbears, but when Raisha and the clerics destroy all of you, I will serve them, and we will rule this valley and destroy all on the roads.
He then turned to the party.
But if you somehow find a way to defeat Raisha, then I will serve you, but only if you acknowledge me as the true Orc King. If you do that, then I will work with you and help you in whatever way I can.
Nightwind, wanting to further motivate Gluguk, walked up to him.
I speak Goblin, and one of the kobolds speaks the language of humans. If you fight by our side against the bugbears, then after we defeat the clerics in the temple, I will help you to unite all the kobolds and goblins here with the orcs. And then not only will you be the Orc King, but you will also be the Goblin and Kobold King as well. They will all serve you.
Gluguk smiled.
It's dark now. Some of the bugbears have almost certainly gone hunting. Let's go to their cave now while they're not all inside. It will give us a greater chance of defeating them.
As Gluguk said that, 8 orcs came out to go hunting. The bugbear cave was about 100 feet to the west. The party exited the orc cave and started making their way to the bugbear cave. Latia, guys, Tico said we should never walk around here at night. I'm a little concerned.
Gluguk, why do you let your women speak? Women should stay silent unless spoken to.
Latia and Shinfia wanted very badly to rip into Gluguk, but instead they both looked at each other and said nothing. Jograth had gotten Gluguk to agree to help them defeat the bugbears. They both realized that it was better to have an orc chieftain help them fight bugbears than to anger him and possibly cause him to turn around and go back to his cave. Just then, they all heard something off to the southwest, and Lightmane saw something moving in the dark, but he couldn't make out what it was, due mostly to all the vegetation everywhere. But Gluguk heard it too, and started to move towards it. Jograth, Gluguk, where are you going?
Gluguk, I saw something over here.
What Gluguk saw was a warthog. He attacked it. It squealed and started to run. Gluguk started to run after it, but then stopped, as he saw a huge creature come out of a cave. Lightmane also saw a huge creature come out of the cave off to their left, the one that the sign said was the lair of Torneck. He couldn't make out what it was, because it was dark, and also due to all the vegetation that partly blocked his view. He then saw another huge creature come out of the cave down below, the one that the sign said was the lair of Isabel. Lightmane, Guys, two huge creatures just came out of those caves. As Lightmane said that, the huge 8-foot tall creature, which was an owlbear, ran towards Glugguk. The other creature, which was also 8 feet tall, was a minotaur. It held a spear in one hand and wore a huge suit of chainmail. It ran towards the party. Jilgrath ran next to Glugguk. Nightwind and Lightmane faced down the minotaur. Latia cast Earth Devil. Shinfia readied her bow. Jack cast Monster Summoning 2. Tenneth cast Curse. Belfin and Phileas took the time to maneuver around behind the minotaur. John and Bill grabbed the longbows and a quiver of arrows that were in the wheelbarrow. Jack's spell summoned 4 gnolls, so he decided to send 2 of them to attack each creature. Glugguk swung his sword at the owlbear, and it cut into the beast, but it barely seemed to notice. Jilgrath swung at it, but failed to damage it. Lightmane's sword cut into the minotaur's body, but it also barely seemed to notice. Nightwind swung his warhammer, which smashed into the chainmail, but didn't appear to do any damage. At 8 feet tall, both monsters were clear targets to fire missiles at, so they took the chance, hoping not to hit anyone, and fired. Shinfia's arrow didn't penetrate the Minotaur's armor. John and Bill both fired at the owlbear, but both arrows went over its head. The Earth Devil appeared, and Latia sent it at the owlbear. The owlbear attacked Glugguk, but both claws failed to hurt him, as his plate armor protected him. Lightmane avoided the Minotaur's spear. Belfin and Phileas were easily able to maneuver behind the Minotaur. The owlbear then bit Glugguk, and he cried out in pain. The Minotaur rammed its head into Lightmane, and its horn cut into his body. Shinfia's second arrow pierced the Minotaur in its arm, and John's arrow caught the owlbear for a small amount of damage, while Bill's arrow just missed. Tenneth's curse spell went off. Jack started casting Magic Missile, and Tenneth moved up to attack the Minotaur, while Latia cast her Earthbow spell. The owlbear tried to bite Glugguk again, and somehow just missed him. Jack's Magic Missile hit the Minotaur for a small amount of damage. Jilgrath's sword cut into the owlbear's skin, wounding it pretty good. Both of the gnolls' attacks on the owlbear failed to do any damage, but one of the gnolls on the Minotaur succeeded, and its flail smashed into it, wounding it. Lightmane missed, but Nightwind's warhammer connected, wounding it some more, but it kept fighting. All the arrows missed, but one of the owlbear's claws ripped into Glugguk, and he fell. The Earth Devil hit the owlbear, hurting it pretty bad. The Minotaur attacked Lightmane again with his spear, and this time it got him good, and the elf fell. Latia's Earthbow appeared, and Latia then readied her own bow. Belfin and Phileas attacked the Minotaur. Phileas failed to damage it, but Belfin's dagger cut into the Minotaur's flesh and wounded him good. Shinfia, John, and Bill all fired another arrow. Shinfia's did a small amount of damage to the Minotaur, and Bill's arrow did a small amount of damage to the owlbear, while John's flew over the owlbear's head, just missing it. The Minotaur then rammed its horn into Tenneth and then bit him, and Tenneth almost fell. With 2 gnolls and Nightwind in melee with the Minotaur, Tenneth backed up and started to cast Cure Light Wounds on himself. Latia fired an arrow at the owlbear, hitting it for a small amount of damage, but her Earthbow hit it, and it almost fell. But it then swiped both of its paws at Jilgrath, knocking him down. The half-orc was very badly wounded, but got back up. One of the gnolls then hit the owlbear, and it fell. The Minotaur stabbed the gnoll with its spear, wounding it badly, but Nightwind hit it with his warhammer, and Shinfia's arrow found its flesh, and the Minotaur fell. Tenneth drank his healing potion, and then cast Cure Light Wounds on Lightmane, and then went over to Glugguk and cast it on the orc. Jilgrath, seeing Tenneth heal the orc, looked relieved. Ken Jilgrath, thank you for healing him. I wasn't sure if you would. Tenneth, he's helping us. That makes him a member of our party. For now. Jilgrath smiled. Latia treated their wounds with her healing salve and her herbs, and both the elf and the orc regained consciousness. Glugguk, you healed me. Thank you. Latia, half smiling, you're welcome, Glugguk. Thank you for helping us. Ken Jilgrath, speaking to Glugguk, you and I fought side by side. We make a good team. Glugguk tried to get up, but the pain immediately stopped him. Ken Jilgrath, we need to rest. Let's go rest in the orc cave. Latia, moving these 2 right now is not a very good idea. They're very badly wounded. I think we should just rest here. Then again, We shouldn't stay out here at night, should we? Ken Jograth.
No, we shouldn't. Staying out here at night is very dangerous. Lots of creatures hunt at night. We can put Glugguk in the wheelbarrow, and I can carry the elf.
Lightmane drank his healing potion. I think I can make it over there now. Anyone want to give Glugguk their healing potion? Latia handed her potion to Glugguk. The Orc King looked confused. Latia. It's a healing potion. It will heal your wounds, but you'll still need to rest. Glugguk drank the potion and was amazed at how it healed some of his wounds. The party went into the Orc Cave and into Glugguk's room. The orcs were shocked at seeing an adventuring party bring their wounded chieftain into their lair. Glugguk had a crude-looking bed with hides and cushions. He had the orcs bring more hides, and they set them in the adjoining room, along with a cushion, and there they laid Lightmane down, and Latia bound his wounds again, just to be safe. The party would now rest and get their spells back, but not until they talked about the insane battle that just took place. Jack. We threw everything we had at those two monsters, and I was still not sure we were going to win. The amount of damage it took to kill them is scary. That was a minotaur, but what in the world was that other thing? Lightmane. It's an owlbear. Luckily, I've read about them too. They are quite a nasty monster. Shinfia. Owlbear? So an owl and a bear mated? She said, smiling. Lightmane. Cute, but no. No clue what they are. But I read that some believe they are the result of a genetic experiment done by wizards. I guess that's as good a guess as any. Tenneth. So the legend of the Minotaur is true then. This is the creature that we heard howl in the night. Let's hope there are no more Minotaurs in this valley, or these woods. Let's hope. Phileas. Both of those creatures are incredible. Let's hope they have lots of treasure in their lair. Belfin. So they named the owlbear Isabel, and the Minotaur Torneck? Torneck. What a bizarre name. But why did they name them? What's that all about? Shinfia. Maybe they saw the Minotaur rip creatures' necks apart. I certainly wasn't expecting Isabel the Beautiful to be a huge, ugly beast. I'm glad they named her that for... I'm guessing they named her that for fun. Do you think there are any other huge monsters in this valley? Nightwind. Let's hope not. Torneck sounds like an appropriate name for a minotaur, though. I'm glad we had help for that battle. I'm guessing their caves are similar to the ogre's cave. I think we should check them out first thing in the morning before entering the bugbear cave. Shinfia. Yes, let's do that. The party rested until morning and decided to approach the owlbear's cave first, which was down south at the end of the valley. Glugguk decided to come with. He seemed to be enjoying going adventuring. As the party came near the entrance, they all smelled a foul odor coming from within. They decided to go inside and immediately regretted it. The odor was horrible inside the cave, and they all started feeling a little nauseous. A minute later, and half of them were feeling sick, so they turned around and exited the cave. Shinfia. I guess owlbears like smelly caves. I don't think we should try exploring it any further. Everyone was frustrated, but agreed. Nightwind believed he could handle it, but didn't want to explore it alone. But Glugguk and Jograth were willing to explore it with him, so they took a chance and went back in. The rest of the party tried, but soon started feeling nauseous and sick again, and came back outside. A few minutes later, the dwarf, orc, and half-orc came running out, looking sick, but quickly started feeling better now that they were outside. Nightwind. We saw a dozen or more giant rats. We killed some, but then started feeling sick, so we ran out. Fortunately, none of them bit us. It's just a series of natural caves. I say we let the rats enjoy the caves and go explore Torneck's lair. So they did, but immediately upon entering it, they started to feel slightly dizzy due to a great stench in the air. On the ground were lots of copper coins, so they started picking them up. They thought it best to give them to Glugguk, which made him quite happy. The entire place was a series of natural caves that went in all directions, which made mapping it almost impossible. So Jack stopped trying. Jack, I'm dizzy, and I've no clue where we are. Hope we don't get lost in here. Everyone was feeling dizzy, but no one was getting sick, so they kept exploring it. They found over 100 copper coins just laying on the ground all over the place, but as soon as they continued to explore the twisting natural cave passages, they heard some creatures flying around, and a moment later they were attacked by 9 sturges.
Sturges looked like a cross between an ugly bird and a bat, and they had a long nose, which they used to suck their victims' blood. One latched onto Jack, one of the henchmen, Phileas, and Latia. But the party killed them pretty easily, and the rest all flew away. Latia, wow, those things are scary. I'm glad we didn't encounter them when it was just 8 of us. Lightmane, agreed. They're nasty. Glad they were fairly easy to hit. Glad they fled, too. Their herbs and healing salves seemed to heal their wounds fairly well, so they kept exploring. And were soon attacked by 6 fire beetles. Where sturges were fairly easy to hit, fire beetles had better protection, but they were no match for the party, who killed all of them. Jack, okay then, Torneck has sturges and fire beetles living in his lair. Imagine getting into a battle with them and then a minotaur attacks you. I am so glad we faced it outside and not in his lair. Then again, it would have only been Torneck and not Isabel too. Jack just shook his head in disgust, and they kept exploring. About an hour of wandering around all the cave passages, they finally came upon Torneck's lair. It was a very large cave, some 40 to 50 feet in diameter, that was roughly circular in shape, that had 4 passages that all exited the south or east, back into the series of caves that they had gotten lost in. They had entered from the top passage in the northeast corner. Each entrance was decorated with a series of skulls and bones that were laid in a kind of decorative pattern. Each pattern was different from the others. Jack, smiling, Torneck appears to enjoy decorating. If only he could have been reasoned with. We could have hired him to decorate our apartment, he said sarcastically. Shinfia, continuing with the sarcasm, yeah, he seems quite talented. A minotaur who excels in interior design. He probably couldn't find much work. Then again, maybe the temple hired him. Jack, well, if the temple has skulls and bones arrayed in decorative patterns, we'll know who did it. The party saw no treasure, but when they searched everything, they found a secret door along the west wall. The door was made out of stone, so it took 3 of them to open it. Inside was a small alcove that went back about 15 feet and was maybe 7 to 8 feet wide. Inside was a small metal chest and 2 very small chests, along with a suit of banded armor that was sized for a human, and a smaller suit of split mail that an elf or half-elf or human female could wear. Phileas and Belphin inspected the chests and checked for traps. All 3 were locked, but they detected no traps. Belphin and Phileas each picked the lock on the smaller chests. One contained 5 potions, and the other had 3 pieces of jewelry inside. But when Belphin went to pick the other chest, a needle stabbed him, and he immediately started feeling sick. Latia cast her detect poison spell, and the vellum turned black. Tenneth, well, I'm sure glad we bought a potion of neutralized poison. Let's hope this does the trick. Belphin drank it and immediately felt better. The party was amazed to see how easily and quickly the liquid neutralized the poison. Inside the chest was their largest haul yet, 530 silver coins and 64 gold coins. Glugga couldn't stop looking at all the silver and gold coins. Tenneth, okay everyone, we've got some decisions to make. How does this sound to all of you? There's 12 of us, but the party is really just 8 of us. John and Bill are hired help, and Jograth and Glugga are also just helping us. How do you all think we should divide up these coins? As Tenneth said this, he could see that Jograth, let alone Glugga, were both looking a little annoyed. Jograth, I would be happy with half a share. If you divide it by 10, that's 53 silver and 6 gold coins for the 8 of you, which leaves 26 silver and 3 gold coins for the 4 of us. You can keep what's left. How does that sound, Glugga? Glugga, so I get 26 silver coins and 3 gold coins? Jograth, yes, but Glugga, those gold coins are worth more than the silver, as well as the copper coins that you already got. Glugga, I am the Orc King. Give me 10 more silver coins and 2 more gold coins, then I accept. Glugga was smiling now, happy with his demands. Lightmane, Glugga, that's a lot of money. However, you've agreed to help us, so I'm okay with your demands. How does everyone else feel about this? Everyone knew there were 4 extra gold coins, so they all had no problem letting Glugga have 2 of them, which made the Orc King very happy.
while John and Bill were shocked that they were getting so much. So they each gave 5 silver coins to Gluguk. Gluguk.
Now let's go fight the bugbears.
Latia, desiring to influence Gluguk some more. Gluguk, may I speak? Gluguk, surprised that Latia asked for permission.
You show me respect. You may.
Latia, thank you, Gluguk. Luckily, we've faced bugbears in battle once, so we now know what to expect. Looking at Gluguk now. But I'm guessing you haven't? Gluguk.
No, but I know they are powerful.
Latia. Yes, they are. They are terrifying. Not as terrifying as Torneck and Isabel were, but there was only one Minotaur and one owlbear. We are about to enter their lair. No telling how many there are, though we are now stronger than we were before, and there are more of us now. Still, I am sure that this will be our toughest battle yet. So if you will allow me, Gluguk, I would like to offer a prayer up to my goddess, Shyla, for her blessing and protection. Is that okay?
Gluguk. I do not know who Shyla is, but the orc god is Grumish, so I now call on him to strengthen us and give us victory over the bugbears. You may now pray to Shyla.
Latia, trying to take in all that Gluguk just said. Thank you, Gluguk. May Shyla bless us now, and protect us, and guide us. Guide our path, and guide our hearts. And may all the gods, Latia hesitated, not sure what to say, as she did not want to offend Gluguk. May all the gods who desire for us to be victorious over the bugbears bring us to victory. Gluguk looked satisfied, but Tenneth wanted to speak a blessing too, but he knew that Gluguk would see it as a weakness for a man to ask for permission to speak, so he just spoke. Tenneth. And may the goddess Ilana also bless and protect us and guide us. Lightmane then spoke. I pray to the elven gods. I honor all of you and respect all of you. Bring us victory over these bugbears. Nightwind.
To all the dwarven gods too. What you all said.
Belfin. Arvarine is the halfling god of defense. We could use all of the defense that we can get. Phileas. Here's to all of the gnome gods. Help us to defeat the bugbears. Jack. Well, that just leaves Shin and me. My family worshipped Hieronius. Seems like a good time to call on him. So I am. Lead us to victory. John. Bill and I also worship Hieronius, so we're good. Shinfia. I'm good. I think we're all good. Is everybody good? Jograth.
Gluguk, may I speak?
Gluguk, pleased that Jograth asked.
You may.
Jograth.
Half-orc necromancers often worship Orlok, the half-orc god of magic. I do not know much about him, but I am hoping that my calling on him now will help us. That is all that I wanted to say.
Latia was now very afraid. She had no clue how they could possibly defeat all of the bugbears in their lair, and she wished that Tico and Latia the Puma were here with them. So since they came and saved them from the gnolls, she silently prayed to Shyla and asked if she could send them, while also trying to somehow communicate with the Puma with her mind. Latia speaking silently to herself. Latia and Tico, if you can hear me, please come and help us. The party walked over to the bugbear cave and went inside. Sheila. Okay, so Moradin, you're limited to the 12th progression as a warrior, and Alana as a cleric, and I'll be a ranger druid, each of the 9th progression. Kurth, what progression have you achieved? Kurth, 9th as a barbarian and 8th as a necromancer. Sheila. Great! And Bale is a wizard of the 9th progression. So let me know if I'm wrong, but I think that makes us a pretty good party. Bale. Wait, you've said you've created a scenario. Sheila. That's right. Bale. Well, that's not going to work, since you'll know what's going to happen. To go adventuring means to explore. It's not exploring if you already know what's there. Sheila. I see. So I need to create a scenario then that involves randomness. Ilana. Sheila, how about Moradin and I help create the scenario? That way we'll each only know part of it, and if you make it all random, then we'll never know what's coming. We'll just have an idea. Sheila. That sounds great. I created a series of caves for us to explore that are in the side of a mountain.
Morden, just have each area generate randomly what we encounter when we enter it. That way we won't know what we're going to run into.
Sheila. Okay, but I don't want this to just be about fighting. I want us to go adventuring.
Ilana,
you said you created a series of caves in the side of a mountain. I take it these caves are in Forestera above?
Sheila,
yes, since there's no monsters down here. In doing this, I've also created a place that others will find over time and can go adventuring in, she said, smiling.
Ilana,
So were you just going to teleport all of us to those caves and we explore them?
Sheila,
yes.
Bale,
how about you teleport us a random number of miles from those caves? That way part of the adventure involves finding them.
Sheila,
oh, I like that, but I know where they are, so it'll just mean walking to them. That doesn't sound like adventuring.
Ilana,
leave this to me. She cast a series of spells. Okay, show me the location of the caves. Sheila showed her, and then Ilana cast another series of spells.
Ilana,
okay, everyone, everything is all set up. When we're all ready to go, I'll teleport all of us to a specific location, and from there we'll have to explore to find the caves, and then we'll explore the caves and see what we find.
Bale,
but you all know what monsters are in the caves, yes?
Ilana,
no. We know what might be there, but each area will randomly generate what's there from a list that I created, and I made it so that each list is also created randomly. So while the three of us know creatures that are on the list, we have no clue what will be in each area.
Sheila,
oh, this is exciting. I so love not knowing what we're going to find. It's like being mortal again. Well, not really, but close enough.
Bale,
so if Kurth or I die, we won't actually die?
Sheila,
no, you'll die. But if that happens, we'll resurrect you, so you'll be fine.
Bale,
okay. I appear to be the weakest member, though, he said, looking a little sad. Sheila cast a spell, and her leather armor appeared on Bale.
Sheila,
now you have some good protection. It's a little better than elven chainmail, just so you know.
Bale,
wow, this is your armor?
Sheila,
it's a replica, but it's just as good as mine. Now, what other items do we all want to equip ourselves with? I feel like we don't want to overdo it too much, so I won't use my armor or crossbow or sword. How about we all go with some simple enchanted weapons and armor? They all equipped themselves with minor magical armor and weapons. Sheila went with leather armor, short sword, light crossbow, and short bow. Ilana went with banded armor and a small shield, a mace and a flail, and 3 throwing hammers, along with a staff of curing, so that she could focus on fun and interesting cleric spells instead of mostly healing spells. Moradin went with plate mail and a small shield, a warhammer, a battle axe, 2 throwing axes, and 2 throwing hammers, and Kurth wore a magical ring and bracers for protection, and wielded a giant slain bastard sword and a magical longbow with lots of magical arrows. A bastard sword is a long sword, but bigger, at 4 feet in length. It dealt more damage when swung with 2 hands. All of their items and armor and weapons were magical, but nothing too fancy.
Ilana,
now after I cast teleport, we will lose all of our innate magical abilities. In other words, we'll pretty much be like mortals. Let's all keep the ability to teleport, though, just to be safe. What do you think?
Bale,
well, I think that makes a lot of sense.
Sheila,
are you ready to be a half-elf again?
Bale, looking nervous.
I'm actually scared for some reason, but yes, I'm ready. Sheila just smiled and cast a spell, and Bale was a half-elf again. Seeing himself as a half-elf again got him quite emotional, so Sheila went over to him and held him.
Sheila,
it's okay. You'll be fine. Let's go have some fun.
Bale, hugging her back.
I don't know what to say other than thank you. I'm really overwhelmed right now, though. Bale gathered himself and finally was able to calm down and relax. With everyone all ready to go, he was filled with excitement. He was about to go adventuring with a half-orc barbarian necromancer and 3 deities. Deities who had greatly limited themselves, but they were still deities. The reality of who he was about to go adventuring with was blowing his mind. Sheila, with a wild look of excitement on her face. Okay, everybody. Let's go adventuring. Ilana. Here we go, everyone. Ilana casts teleport.